Hello, this is Crypto CJ. It's Trade of the Day, Friday afternoon / evening Zoom edition, and we've had an exciting week in crypto. Bitcoin broke, um, shot over 35K on was that Sunday night or Monday night, and has held in the 30s throughout the week. So this is very good news, and it looks good for a crypto or a Bitcoin climb, probably towards 40K. Maybe 45. We think we're riding on a wave of a little bit of FOMO due to the ETF accounts of Bitcoin and then Ethereum as well. Supposed to be approved by the SEC potentially this year, early next year, but maybe it's some good FUD finally going our way. Let's look at the charts.
I'll just remind you, you're going to look at the fear and greed index at some stage today as well.
All right, I will do that. I actually left up my iCoin Pro for that purpose, so. Okay, let's get over to Bitcoin. You should be seeing my Bitcoin day chart.
We are.
Yes.
All right, I have realigned my zones. My bottom zone now is between 25K and about 26.5. So 25K has held a couple times of support in the past couple months since we broke through in March. It held here in June, again in August, and it dipped again earlier this month until actually later in September. Didn't quite make it to 25 until pushing up. We've got this nice run this week and pushing 35K and couldn't quite hold it. So we're at 33.8 now, but looking good. I'm going to smash this together. And we have not been in this type of range since last spring. So if we can push through this, 40K should be doable by the end of the year. So we will see. And then on Ethereum, got the two zones between like 1500 and 1600 here on the bottom, and then up in the upper 1800s here on top, and this sort of mini resistance support here at 1750. We did break through that, and you can see here it was a resistance twice. Now it appears to be support, the 1750 area. So hopefully it'll hold. We'll break through and bounce. And I think the next this is the next zone around 1850, and then after that we're around 2000 for Ethereum. But overall, a pretty good week in crypto. And Craig, for you, I will bring up the fear and greed index, and we're in greed.
Whoa!
Yeah,
Whoa!
71. This is 24 hours behind us, so this is as of yesterday, but that's how it usually works. So I'm looking for extremely greedy before I sell some of my hodls, but for now we're just greedy, so that's not sufficient enough for me to do that.
A lot better than the red that it has been in for so long.
Yeah, extreme fear. That's no fun. Okay, so any questions, comments about the markets overall, Bitcoin, Ethereum, altcoins in general before we look for some day trades on Altcoin Alert? All right. I'm heading over to Altcoin Alert now. I'm on the altcoin radar view. Gonna refresh, and I will go to the AA score to see if we can find some high scores, preferably those above 80. And we've got Aave here at 80.7, Gala at 83.5. These are both coins I trade with some frequency, both above 80, so I like that. And what Altcoin Alert is telling us is that Aave has an 80.7% chance to go up 3% or more in the next 48 to 72 hours. We are on a Friday afternoon, so Weekend volumes tend to be lower generally, and it may or may not have the volume to do that, but anyway, we will see. For now, let's go ahead and look at the Aave chart. Let's see what we can do with this. If you are new or have not been with me in a while, I have changed my charts quite a bit. And let me clean this one up. Okay, so a quick review of what I'm looking at now. I've got the supply and demand visible range from Lux Algo. That's the red and the green. That gives me the range where it's trading on this time frame. I'm on the 5-minute chart, and this goes back to late last night. Sort of like support and resistance. I've got the RTI, which I'm using instead of the RSI. RTI is a relative trend index, and I've had some success using this a little bit better than the RSI. And then I've been using this Cumulative Delta for confirmation, and we'll talk a little bit more about that shortly. So this is my chart setup. All these are free indicators on TradingView. Hit your indicator button, type it out, supply and demand, and this is a free Lux Algo indicator, and the others work as well. Type out RTI or Cumulative Delta, and you can get these two as well. Okay, so I'm on the 5-minute chart on Aave. First thing I look for is, do we have a setup for a 1, 2, 3 dip? And we do not. So we're above the SMA line, towards the top of the Bollinger Band. So this is not a good entry at this moment. Now, if I go to the 15-minute chart, I'm going to focus on actually, before I do that, if you don't want to deal with indicators, you're not ready for that yet, but you still want a good entry on Aave with the high AA score, you might want to do a price alert right here in this green zone. Or if you're not using this indicator, it's pretty clear to see where the support is. It's between about $77 and say $76.60. You can see multiple touches in this area. Here, 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 and here. So I would do a price alert in this vicinity. Right click on the chart, add an alert. I like round numbers, so probably go with $77. And I usually use my information source for an alert name, AA score purchase. And once you type in something numerous times in TradingView, it will remember it for you. So that's that part. On my notifications, I'm going to notify in my app on my phone, show pop up on my computer screen, and play a sound. There are several to choose from. I like 3 notes reverb. Click create and you're good to go. But this is the type of alert I usually set. I prefer alerts on the indicators on the 15-minute chart. I find certain alerts that go off on the 15-minute chart will often coincide with a dip or a pump on the 5-minute chart. So that's why I do it this way. Okay, what's all this mess mean? So what are we trying to find here? I put my alerts usually on the RTI, and I've done something a little different this week because we had so much more volatility this week, with more volume coming in due to the ETF news, craze, FOMO, whatever you want to call it. I've been buying, going with the trend more when, say, the RTI punches above 80. Now we got this 80 value here on the top of the RTI. Actually, I'll blow this up a little bit. 80 here and the 20 here. So on my trend trades, I try to catch the RTI going below the 20 and coming back up, and that's usually a good entry for a dip trade starting to come back from the dip, or a pump trade, say when it goes above 80 and comes back and crosses over the 80. That can be a good place to get in for a short trade. So, but if you're just trading spot right now, you want to get in these dip trades. If you're trading leverage both directions, then you're going to look for for the dips and the pumps. But what I'm looking for on a trend trade is when something pumps above 80 and it looks like it could still keep going. I'm just trying to get 1% on a chart at 10x leverage. Some of you guys might want to stay in longer. Wow, that was well, that's not what we're going to use. We're going to, so that coincided with this move here on the chart, that big pump. You can see this is where I use the cumulative delta. I see it trending up hard, supporting this move. People are buying. And so that's where I would have gotten in. I would have gotten in probably right about here. And then boom, 4.7%. I'm just looking for 1%. You can stay and watch the RTI. If it's still showing strong up here, you may want to stay in a little longer or even a lot longer, depending on how you trade. I know some of you guys are swing traders. You might do this on a longer frame chart, say a half an hour, and stay in longer. But so I was setting alerts on the 80 and the 20 this week. Actually, I think it was on Tuesday and Thursday and did really well. So I just had an alert go off based on some of this. Let's check that one out. So that was what alert? I have so many here. AA score purchase AVAX. So I've got that screen up here. We're going to break away from Aave for a moment and look at AVAX. Now, the downside of using the 80-20 is sometimes it'll just putz around the 20 and not really do much, which is what's happening here. You see this is broken above and below a couple times. So I've had alerts go off. As you can see from the cumulative delta, it's doing nothing. It's just going sideways. So I'm not going to take a trade on this. All right, let's go back to Aave. So there's two conditions I want to set alerts for. We just mentioned breaking above the 80 and dipping below the 20, which is sort of the opposite of what I've been doing until now. And then I still do breaking below the 80 and breaking above the 20 on dip and pump. So I'm trading a trend and a dip and pump. So if I want to trend trade on Aave, hope this isn't too confusing. I'm going to add an alert. I'm going to exit a channel. So if it breaks above 80, I'll get an alert. If it breaks below 20, I'll get an alert. And I'm going to leave that on once per bar close. That leaves it on until I turn it off. And again, that's a score purchase. And that's how you do that one. So, but the other one, I want to catch the dips and the pumps too. So it's going to be a similar alert. Instead of exiting a channel, we're going to be entering a channel. 80, 20, once per bar close. And you can call this, I usually call this my 1, 2, 3 dip pump alert. And instead of 3 notes reverb, I choose a different sound like chirpy. So this is going to tell me when it pumps above the 80, it might have there's a good chance it'll have some room to get that 1% I'm looking for. Or if it dips below the 20, I can get in on that. Let's say it breaks above the 80, I get a trade, and then it dips below the 80, I get in on it. I get this long, I get this short, I get this short, and then I get this long. So this long actually probably takes a while, but that's, doubling the trades. I think I did 8 trades yesterday and maybe 10 on Tuesday. So yeah, that's how I'm using this RTI, and then using the cumulative delta as confirmation. And then I like to, if I'm trading something short, I want to see that it's entered this red range, this resistance, and it's drifting down. If I'm trading something long, I want to see that it's already been down here and it's starting to shoot back up. Any questions on Aave? That was kind of a lot to dump on you, but I hope you followed it. Okay. Let's see what else we have. So that was an AA score sort. Let's refresh. And let's look at a social activity sort. We're going to match this up with trading activity. Looking for fire on both, or a thumbs up on both, or fire on one, thumbs up on the other. That's okay too. And I'm looking for something that I trade with some frequency. If you're a spot trader, you're going to have more options. There's only maybe 100 or 150 coins that are traded on leverage exchanges, but I've got one here, Dydex, showing fire on social activity and fire on trading activity. So that one could be good. INJ, IOTEX, Chili's. I like Chili's, and I like Chili too. And Chromia and SLP. These are, well, this one's just normal here, but these are two that would qualify as well. I'll just choose one of these for our purposes, and we'll look at Dydex. I think I've already added this one today, so I probably have alerts on it already. Yeah, so double click on this. Yeah. Okay, so here's an example of, we get a break above the 80 on the RTI. We get some nice confirmation here with the green candles on the cumulative delta. So I'd get in right about probably either here or here. And I'm gonna catch that move up. Then it hits the resistance, drops back down, goes below the 80 here. I've got confirmation on the delta there, and I'd probably get in right about here. My alert would go off, and I'm going to catch this move down and pick up a 1% on the way down too. So, and I've usually got this setup going on pretty consistently 6 coins a day, 2 from Altcoin Alert, 2 from iCoin Pro, and then 2 from my Bybit sort. And that's how I usually set up 6 of these alerts a day. And they go off, depending on the market, probably get 5 to 15 alerts going off a day, and the cumulative deltas help me screen out some bad ones. So it'll take out a good one every once in a while too. But yeah, I'm really liking this RTI cumulative delta combination. So again, the setup is similar or the same as what we looked at on Aave. For the pumps above the 80 value and below the 20, that alert is going to be exiting a channel, exiting the 80 and exiting the 20 once per bar close, and the rest. And then for our dips and pumps, right click on the RTI. We're going to enter a channel instead of exiting. And again, that's going to be 80, 20. And you can mess around with these numbers if you want. You go 90 and 10, or I did a 110 earlier in the week. I don't know if it triggered, but so yeah, that's Dydex. And you can see here some really good entries on this one. It breaks above the 80 here. Confirmation on the cumulative. It's coming from the green zone. So nice fat juicy entry here. And if you stay in the whole time, 5%. Good stuff. That's a great excuse me, spot trade at 5%. Then if you're on leverage, you stay in that long, excuse me, at 5, 10, 20x. That's a really good trade. Okay, any questions on Dydex?
These new indicators that you're showing, or that new to me,
Yep.
when you download them, do you change any of the settings, the length of time or anything?
Yeah, that's a good question. Probably.
No.
Not the numbers. I might change some of the style. But yeah, these numbers on the RTI leave alone.
Okay. Yeah, this
I
style
added this midline because for a while I was doing, in a slower market, there's some value in just having it go over the midline, the 50 value, which is what I was talking about the last few weeks until today. But this week I was going over the 80 and 20 and doing pretty well with it. So
Okay.
so this one I added and enhanced.
All right. I just didn't want to miss any changes that you might
Okay.
put in when you download.
Otherwise, that's the same. Let's look at the delta. I don't think I did anything with this. No, that looks all the same. Everything's on there. Yeah, I haven't done anything with this. And then on the supply and visible range, yeah, that's the same too. So yeah, in the past on other indicators, I've tinkered with them more, but these I've left alone, and so far so good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I
All
asked.
right,
Okay,
good question though. Okay, any other questions on Dydex before we move on? Okay. Back to Altcoin Alert, and we did a social activity. Let's do a long-term sentiment. Refresh first. Okay, this is a little more technical way of doing what we just did. We're going to match the sentiment, which is Twitter scores, up with the Elder Impulse Daily, which is a technical indicator, and see what we can find. We've looked at Dydex already. StormX. Yeah, Zen and Ocean I trade frequently. BCH the last couple months. Yeah, quite a few in here. Let's look at Zen. Okay. Let's go to the 5-minute. We forgot to do that in the last one, and don't have great volume on the Binance chart anyway. A lot of horizontal lines, but probably good enough for our purposes. If you want to trade this on spot, the green zone here is showing a couple areas of support. I think that would be a good place for a price alert. Right click, maybe 895, and you'd be good to go on that one. Okay, back to the indicators. See what the RTI has for us on this one. This breakout goes above the 80 here. We probably don't really get confirmation until about here. So entry on this candle makes a nice move up 3%. We get the dip below the 80 here, catch this move down on the dip pump approach. Then it breaks below the 20. Don't know if this one would have done that well. Yeah, actually, I would have just missed getting out. Probably had to endure this, then gotten out around here. Would have picked up an additional trade on my approach, a ladder buy on a short, and then gotten out around here on that one. Break above the 20 here would have been eventually a win. Another break above the 20, a better entry. Break above the 80 here. Not sure if that would have worked out. Just missed. Yeah, probably get out here about 4 hours. So, depending on how long you want to trade and how long you want alerts going off, and they can be annoying. Quite a few entries here on the Zen, not quite as good as the Dydex we just looked at, but good stuff. I've shown you how to do the alerts a couple times. I can show again if you want, but otherwise, any questions on Zen? Okay, we'll do one more and look for our short of the week. Try to take advantage of lower volume and prices perhaps descending over the weekend, going short. I usually do that on long-term sentiment. I just sort it the opposite of what I did. So I'm looking for bearish and bearish. I'm not sure if I'm finding it. Too much bullishness going on. Crow, no, it doesn't match though. Radium is something I've traded before. It's been a while. Could do an elder impulse sort. Radium's the only one that comes up. We could do a 24-hour change sort. I do these occasionally. Instead of sorting for what's pumping, sort for what's dumping. Teller has been on a tear lately. It looks like it's starting to give some back. Blazell, the same. Doge. Doge is one of my favorite coins to short. Let's look at that one. Okay, on the 5-minute, instead of setting an alert near support, we're going to set it near resistance. So we're pretty far. It's already dipped quite a bit. So if you wanted to short this, you probably want to get closer to 7 cents. In this vicinity, 0.7125, give or take, would be the place to do that. On the 15-minute chart, actually, I should have shown you what to do if you just want to trade this approach using spot trades. So sorry for skipping around. Pretend we're looking for a long on a spot trade on this. You'd right click on the RTI. And instead of, we're going to be crossing up on the 80 once per bar close, and call it what you want. That'll stay on all day. And then you want to do another alert crossing up on 20. Same thing. So you want to cross above the 80 and cross above the 20. If it's crossing above the 80, it's pumping, still might go. If it's crossing above the 20, it's dipped and it's due to come back. So that's how you do those. You do it the opposite if you're looking for a short. So let's look at a recent example here. We had this one break above the 80 and then dip right here. We have the descending red candles on the cumulative delta. So we've got our confirmation, and we get this move down, over 3%. So that's good stuff there. We get another move down here. Can't quite tell if that's the wrong one. Yeah, that would have just nudged over. These are ones that are frustrating when they just break the 20 and then shoot back up. So that, and frequently this type of thing is screened out by the cumulative delta. It's not a great move here, but there are a few red candles trending down. So I may have taken that trade. At first it goes against me, but eventually I catch this move down. It does really well. But obviously here and here and here would have been better entries on that. Okay, so that's a break below the 80 after a pump. And this is a break below the 20 where it still may have some room to drop. And it looks like it did continue dropping. It just took a while. So your alert in this scenario is going to be crossing down on the 80. Once per bar close, and call it what you want. And then you do the same alert. And you go below the 20 if you want to catch both scenarios. Okay, any questions on Doge, the short of the week? All right. Well, that's about all I have for my altcoin alert. Zoom call. Are there any coins you guys want to look at or anything crypto you want to talk about before we sign off? Oh, got my
I'd like
chain
to
link
see
background today. That one was doing pretty well this week, so I gave it a little shout out. And somebody said something. Go ahead.
Chain link.
You want to look at link?
Yes.
Okay.
Wanted to see what you came up with.
Well, I
Okay.
shorted this one earlier
Yeah.
today. Probably shouldn't have, but yeah, I think I was on my phone. I didn't look at it closely. Kind of a lame mistake, but or lame excuse. So yeah, it's been pumping above the 80 pretty much all day, multiple times. So I got in on one of these dips. I think I was a little late. I think I caught this one and then it went back up again. But are you looking at this as a day trade or something longer term?
A little bit longer, kind of, maybe a week.
Okay,
I kind
so
of did
Tama
really
wants
well
to
with it.
wants to swing trade with this. Maybe look at the hour chart. It's not really what I do necessarily, but where's your are you in the trade and you're holding on?
Well, I was for a while, and then I made some good money on it.
Okay.
So
There's a really good entry here in the green zone. Of course, it probably wasn't green at the time. Yeah, that was the red zone at the time.
it
Well,
went
maybe
up
not.
quite a bit that one day
Yeah.
that everything went up.
Yeah, probably around here. That was last weekend. Actually had some volume
Yeah.
on Saturday and Sunday, which isn't the norm, but did happen last weekend.
I just happened to be watching it. Because
Yeah.
I had it for about 2 weeks.
Yeah, Link is
And it
interesting.
went up.
They talk a lot about this on CryptNation. If you look at the day chart, shoot, even like the week chart. Yeah, this had highs in 2021 about around $50, and this is a token project a lot of people use for bridging and things like that. I forgot what they call it, an oracle, I think. Connects other blockchains, so it has a function, and it's been beaten down like a lot of the altcoins were. But yeah, this isn't a bad entry. Again, there's thousands of people more qualified than me to talk about long-term trading, but yeah, I think this was a good one to buy and hold for a while. Probably a good choice. Okay, any other questions or comments before we wrap it up?
Thanks, Chris.
You're welcome. Well, I'll stop it here then. If you're watching on the recording, thanks for doing that. I'd like to see you live next time. Please check out the opportunities in the pinned comment. They help support the channel. If you're a Carbon member, we'll need to exit this Zoom and join on the link for the 4 p.m. Pacific start time. Everyone else, see you next time.